Hi everybody and welcome to SA Rugby Year-End Wrap, sponsored by Betway. I've got Mark Keohane in. Mark, I'm not going to talk about betting because rugby's been a disaster sport to bet on. I think I've made a little bit of money from it over the year, but it's certainly for me more than any other sport, including all the North American sports I've been on. It's been so tough because of the COVID, the Groundhog Day of Curry Cups, moving from the Southern Hemisphere Super Rugby competition to now playing in the European Champions League. Tough year. What member? Can we first clear up, or can you clear up for us what is happening with South Africa? Because now with the travel restrictions lifted again, South Africa now committed to this competition rather than doing another rerun of the Curry Cup.
Yeah, I think South Africa, they've always been committed to try and find ways. Look, they were going to revisit that, trying to play in Italy as well.
Yeah.
Which is how it was pre-Munster arriving in the country with one or two other teams and then leaving on the eve of another COVID outbreak. So 8th of January is when it starts up for the South African teams again. And my understanding is that it will go back to the original schedule. So, and then hopefully that's the start of a year where we get consistency in games, we get some crowds back in games, and South African teams actually get to play alone. Because, you know what, I've had a discussion with so many people who say it's been a disaster us going into the United Rugby Championship, and I'm like, nonsense. You can't actually assess them in the United Rugby Championship. You can't assess.
It's like trying to compare an apple with a watermelon.
Yeah, and you can't make an assessment of the tournament as well until we've had a proper one and there's been no disruptions and that kind of stuff. And the nice thing though is for all our teams, they'll be at full strength from January onwards, right through to the conclusion of the tournament. So yeah, I'm a huge believer in how good it will be for our rugby that we went north. I'd like to see the Springboks added to the Six Nations and make it a 7 nations, or for Italy to drop out and make it a proper Six Nations. That may still happen in the next couple of years.
Yeah, there's time to sort that out.
Yeah, there's been a bit of talk about that. But yeah, United Rugby Championship for the start next year, I think that will kind of like just maybe turn things around, because it's just been one of those disruptive, very, very messy years.
It has, and I think rugby has suffered more than any other sport.
Yeah, I mean, world rugby's they've just been diabolical. And I think, again, if you look at the year and we talk about the year, you just have to look at that Springbok side, what they went through, what they endured. Again, criticism of them, they lost 5 out of 13, won 8 out of 13. 3 of those 5 defeats came in the 78th minute. So it could have looked a lot different in terms of statistics. But for a team, the only thing that mattered this year in South Africa, according to the Springboks, was the British and Irish Lions series. Warren Gatton had said it's the strongest squad he had ever coached. And for us to win the way we did, in 26 of the squad having COVID a week before the first test, playing all the matches down in Cape Town, in a bio bubble, huge controversy around that series, obviously with the Rassie Erasmus video after the first test match, and to actually secure that, it will be my biggest takeaway from my rugby memory for the year is the Springboks winning the series, and Morné Steyn completing the most incredible fairy tale, having done it in 2009 with the last minute penalty at Loftus, to come on with 12 minutes to play, to ban one hugely difficult kick over, to take us 3 points ahead. They pulled it back to 16 all, and then he banned over, as he says, a gimme in the last kick. But there was no such thing as a gimme, because I've seen many a good kicker miss a kick like that. So his success story is 2021 for me is the year that Morné Steyn basically wrote his own Hollywood script, and just did.
Let's hope Matt Damon isn't playing him.
Yeah, well, I mean, the nice thing is when he announced his retirement from international rugby, they said it's good. Because they're keeping him under wraps for the next Lions tour, so they can wheel him out with about 2 minutes to go, and he can kick another penalty. So yeah, a great way for him to end his international career. I mean, he's been a stalwart. So that's probably my biggest takeaway in terms of individual and series when it comes to the Springboks. Your side?
So we lost the first test. So I flew out the day after the first test, and I was gutted, of course, and then got to watch the second one, and then the final. I couldn't watch. My friend who I was doing a business deal with out there I met him in Boston a few years ago, and we'd done a deal to buy a company. And he is so fastidious and such a gracious host. So I never got to watch the game, so it's memorable from that point of view for me. The one memory I have for sure of this year is how grossly unfair Rassie's ban was. You know?
Yeah, I mean the whole treatment around Rassie was grossly unfair. And also what I found interesting is post the fact when World Rugby did ban him, how many people in this country actually said it was a good thing, you know, and that he had kind of overstepped the mark. If Rassie Erasmus had not released that video, we would have lost the Lions series 3-0.
Yeah.
Because the officiating would have been so biased and prejudiced against us.
Yeah.
That second test took 100 minutes to complete that test, but every decision was the right one, and we caned them 27-9. People forget that one. And in that third test, it came down to a dogfight. They didn't have the luxury of their 40,000 Lions supporters. We had the luxury of no supporters at home. So it was always going to be tough in that context. But there could be no qualms about the officiating in Test 2 and 3.
Yeah.
And
well, there's been no talk about it because it wasn't a factor in the outcome of a game.
Exactly, and and you know, as I say, Morne saying kick the kick, but Rassie, in his Waterboy guys, he was responsible for that series win, and you know, and the ban that they threw at him as well 3 days before the England test, and as he said to me, he doesn't have to be with the Boks from day 1 to day 5 in the week. Jacques prepares them so well, and they prepare themselves so well. His big thing is he has a huge influence on the side of that field in terms of basically taking them over the line. And in that test against England, he wasn't there to take them over the line either. So he's on day 30 now, I think, of his ban. We see him on Twitter every day, him and his bulldog Frank.
Frank, yeah. You know, I saw the video yesterday of Vanilla Ice, their take on Vanilla Ice, Paul Edmonds. No, not Paul Edmonds, Paul, what's his name? Good lad. Paul and Rassie singing Ice Ice Baby, substituting Ice Ice for Bam Bam. It's hilarious, but it's just a little bit long. I think
He could have cut that on the second ban. But I see he's gone on Twitter to say if people find his postings and his videos inappropriate, he'll take them off. I think more of the same. He's showing us an international coach. He's got a character, he's got personality, and he's enjoying like every day is a Friday, he says. There's a shitload of booze in that house.
I wish you'd invite me over for one of these Fridays because it looks like a lot of fun.
It does. And I think Frank's a vegan as well because...
I'm not a vegan.
But for that bulldog to be lying there, lights out with 10 kilos of prime beef, my God. But he seems to be having fun. I think he's...
Well, all the stuff he's gone through with that and his illness, he deserves some fun.
Exactly.
You know, it's and Rassie, if you're listening, don't give in to this woke culture of taking things down.
I mean, on the World Rugby thing, Rassie Erasmus also put a tweet out. There's one man he misses in World Rugby, it's Peugeot. He's the man who should be running World Rugby. Yeah. We said that consistently. If you look at a guy like Keohane, Laurie Main said that he just wasn't up to test standard. Laughing Laurie for that one. It's certainly never happened for the Boks in terms of winning a World Cup and then being able to basically kick on. We've always been very inconsistent post our World Cup wins and then come back into the fray again. Rassie Erasmus, in terms of transformation, has done more for Springbok rugby than anyone in the history of the game has done. And when he took over, he has said there were 2 goals that he had. One, it had to be a transformed team that spoke to the country as a whole, and 2, it had to be a winning team. And the way to become an ambassador is to win, and to win big tournaments, and the biggest one was the World Cup. And they've achieved that. And
it's the only one that counts.
It's the only one that counts, and the World Cup win was fantastic. The way they've kicked on, they consolidated this team. The transition to Jacques has seemed quite seamless because Rassie still has such a strong role, and he's ever present. But yeah, just give the Boks their due, give Rassie his due, Jacques, Sia Khaleesi, Eben, Lukanya, you can just rattle off all the names, Malcolm Marx, anyone who's played in the Boks side this year, have really put in a fantastic performance and deserve a couple of weeks off now before the United Rugby Championship starts. And I'm looking forward to seeing how well the South African teams do when they do get to play at home and get to play in front of a few people. And once again, to the powers that be, for God's sake, give us more than 2,000 people at a stadium. I saw more than 2,000 people in a restaurant the other night. And
must be the one I was at.
Shoulder to shoulder, and we were cheering on a team. I think it may have been Liverpool. But
fill the stadiums, let everybody get this this omnivariant seems incredibly mild. Stop kicking the can down the road.
Yeah.
You can't stop the inevitable. I mean, this is what lockdowns aren't working. It's ridiculous. People are starving. Let's get on with stuff.
Let's get on with it, and let's enjoy the fact that the Boks are one in the world, the Sevens team are one in the world, and they are setting new standards. Rest well, guys, and come back 2022 where South Africa, the Boks, and our teams took a bit of rugby ass.
Yeah. Have a Merry Christmas, man.
That's it.